Well, hello and welcome back to my personal lifestyle channel. For the you that are just joining me for the first time, I am Pastor Michael Nicodemus. And as I said before, this is my personal lifestyle channel. On this channel, what I do is I do midweek Bible studies. I do talks or chapters about my life after I seen God. You can check that out on my playlist series if you go to my channel descriptions. Also, I do home improvement jobs around my house, and that's what I'm going to be doing in this video. I'm going to be installing another faux beam. It's going to be pretty impressive. So if you'd like to know how I changed this into this, keep watching. Well, let me show you where I'm planning to put this, as you've already seen in the picture in my intro. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be dividing my kitchen area, my dining room area, and my living room area. If you've seen my other video on my faux beam, you know I have um, over there is a faux beam that's on the far end of my living room. That's the end of it. And then off camera over here, there's another faux beam. That was the second beam I built. Well, this is the third beam that I'm going to build, and this beam is going to come all the way up and then down onto that side. This is going to take a little bit more work than the other two videos did to do those beams, so I thought that it would be appropriate to be able to show you on video what I'm doing. So the first thing that I need to do is I need to remove the items from that shelf. That's where I'm going to start at first. So let's just go ahead and remove that stuff from over there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fast forward my video in the editing while I'm taking that down. I don't want to bore you with having to watch all the way through that. So I'm going to fast forward it right now. Well, there you have it. Now let me show you the next step. Well, to establish the width of my beam is what I want to do now. So the full beam will have two outside pieces and it'll have an inside piece. So that center console piece up there, that post, is the width of my beam, and that'll be the carrying width of the rest of my full beam. So let me show you what I'm going to be doing. This is what I call a template to put up here. Be able to hold. You can see the angle of which way it goes. I want to lower it down there more because I'm going to start over there against the wall. And this gives me my width inside that piece. Everything's straight. As long as we're flush on both sides of this 4x4 decorative post here, we ought to have the same measurement. But I'm going to measure it here and on each side, and then that's the width I'm going to cut it. So this width here, in between here, will be that whole width of that flat board. So that's the flat part that goes up here, but it's also the bottom part of the board too. So I think it's like 3 3/4. So 3 1/4 somewhere in there. Let me get my tape measure and measure it. Yeah, 3 1/4. 3 1/4. I'm going to leave that up there right now because what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line on there, and that's going to shoot for my line going that way. So what I want to do is pull this as far as I can this way. And I don't want to do one of them because that's going to be the line I'm going to use. You know what? Let's put that on this other side. That way, well, maybe work like that. That way I can, well, that ain't going to work. That's not a very straight board. Anyway, I'll figure that out. Let me cut the board to 3 1/4. I'll go that way. Let's go do that now. You need 2 of them, top and bottom. Look them down to see which is the straightest side. Sometimes 4 sets of hands would come in handy to have somebody guide it through the other side, keep it against the fence. That would be nice, but sometimes you just got to figure out how to do it by yourself. Let's figure out how to draw a line so we have a straight edge to go against that wall. Let's go back in the house. What I want to do is get a measurement from that 4x4 to that wood trim piece over there. Now, you know, I don't run my bottom piece all the way to the wall. I do my side pieces and then I trim that out that way. So I need to get a measurement. All right, it's 48 inches and it's a 6-degree angle. We know that because of all the other angles we've been doing in the house. So 6-degree at the top, 6-degree at the bottom. Let's go use the miter saw and let's get this one cut right now. Hey, 6-degree angle. Got our top piece first. This way. 60-degree angle. Should have enough to do the other side to the peak, which is 48 inches. Let's see what that is when we get back in there. So let's go get ready to put this up on the ceiling. What I'm going to do in this step is I'm going to put my decorative boards, my sample boards back up there and draw a line. I'm going to put the white board back up there and establish where the lines are for that side. What I'm going to be putting in there are these drywall concrete block. These are toggle bolts. That's what I'm using. So you got to drill two different size holes. The first hole is just that diameter that goes through the wood, and then the next diameter goes through the drywall, which is that diameter. So first thing I want to do is establish where my lines are at. Let's get that done right now. To do that, what I like to do is put those boards back up there. Keep my anchor board handy. See if I can't do this gently like. I'll put these closer to the outside edge this time because I want to establish where that board's going to go inside there. All right, now I'm going to get on that side and work that board up in there, and I'm going to draw a line, hopefully like this, which will be my connecting line to be able to put that up in there to establish where that goes. That's what I wanted to do, my friends. Just like that. You look up there at that angled board, it should have a straight line on it. It's also going straight over center over this other board. So if you're square with your post, you should be able to get that up in there okay. I think that's going to work for me. Take this screw out of here. All right, now it's time to take these out of here. Temporarily, I'm going to be putting them back in there again. I'm just going to get down here on the floor and I'm going to eyeball that to see if that line is actually pretty straight. I get over here, be able to eyeball that. Another thing you can do is put a square up on the wall and they show you that. This is probably the most critical part of the whole lay of these faux beams on both sides of this, because they've got to be square off of there because we're pulling a measurement off of the wall to get the rest of it. So I'm going to go ahead and put this up on my line I made on the ceiling and squared off of the trim. See if we're pretty much where we need to be. And we are not. So I got to think of another way to establish square off of this. That concept didn't work. We've got to be square. It's very, very important to be square. So we're going to do this again. Can't use a board that's got a crooked line to it. Got to use my straightest line. That one's straight. What I'm going to do is clamp this back up there again. And up there tight. Get this piece back up there. Reestablish my square. There's the wife. She's in bed sleeping. Get a couple more clamps from the shed out there and just put some more clamps on it and see if that helps me. All right, let's just figure out what we can do here to get this as square as we can. So we got that board sitting in there. Was that board way over there? Thinking it through, baby. Thinking it through. What I'll do is go ahead and put the anchor in on the first side so I know where that's square at. And then I'll re-square it. Then I have a better way to hold it up in there. This is the first time I've done this, and kind of here by myself right now. We'll be back. Well, as you can see, I finally got the we call the support beam up there. So I squared the one up against the wall, and then my wife and I, we took a measurement off of the kitchen wall to go against the post, and then we went to the center of our wall over here and got this other measurement. So what I like to do is I like to change the angle of my camera and put you right up underneath looking up at that beam so you can see that we are indeed square with the back wall. I do that first pencil line on there. That pencil line isn't square. We're going to have to spray some texture over that to cover that up. We'll do that later. But I want you to see how straight we are. That's critical when you're doing a room divide like this. Let me show you. Well, here we are looking pretty much straight at that beam. I'm going to put the square against the wall. This kind of helps me to establish that straight line as well. So I'm going to get up on the wall and show you with the square. So the first square that I used was my yellow square. And as you can tell, I am square with it off that side. I'm also square for this side of my trim. And then the next thing that I did is I put my long piece of trim, my long square up here, put it next to my trim. It's square off of that side as well. And let me double check. And we're square off of that side as well. The pencil line I have up there makes it look like it's a little bit out of square, but it's not. So that's straight, that's square, and it's also straight with my that might be just a little bit out right there, huh? Yeah. Like that's off. Yeah, we're gonna have to fix that. We'll figure out how to do that. Right now the post is 149, so this should be 149 as well, but it's not looking very straight through there. Let's figure what we can do. Put a straight edge up in there, see what that looks like. I'll be right back. What I want to do to make this straight is I want to go ahead and establish the straight edge. It's going to come all the way from the wall to this peak right here. In order to do that, I've got to cut the trim off that wall over there. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. So what I've done in the past to help me with these angles and these beams is I made a board. This board has a left and a right side on there. This has the angle back on the wall and also the angle of the ceiling, 6 degree. It also helps me make my crown molding pieces. You've seen that in other videos. So what I did to make this line is I put this up against this line here, right here, drew my line. Now I'm going to cut that piece of trim out. Then I'll have to cut the trim out on the other side. Let's do this side first. All right, that gets me straight on this side. So now I need to get on the other side of that 6 foot wall, half wall. So I got to pull all this stuff out from behind it to cut the other side out in order to drop that trim down. I'll do that, and then we'll be back up to put that straight edge up, and then we'll get this thing square. Well, I guess the straight edge don't lie. You can actually tell how square that really is. I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it loose, and I'm going to lose that toggle bolt and that screw, but I'm going to go ahead and take that back in there and make it straight as I can. Probably have to use a hand screwdriver because that's pretty tight in there. Let me get that loose and let me get it clamped in there. As you can tell, everything else is clamped in there tight. That's the straight edge that I wanted. So how do we establish what's straight and what's not? So if I flex this over too far, it's going to bend that way out of proportion. So I'm going to have to move this back over that way. So let me do some adjustments, and I'll share how I did that. I'll be right back. Well, I believe I got it. Let's pull it back a little bit. So you can tell we're now straight. And puts us probably about an inch more that way. But that's okay. We're now straight in our wall. So the next thing I want to do is I want to get a measurement coming down this side. We'll do that. But what I can do is I can go ahead and cut the bottom piece of this, both sides, and I can get them stained. And I'll be doing that too. But I need to charge my camera for a little bit. But I'm going to go ahead and get this stuff cut over here, and then we'll sand it down and stain it. And basically we repeat that side over there, except we don't have a seam in the middle. I think that's going to look pretty cool. I'll talk to you in a little bit. I've got my boards, both my boards in there. As you've seen in the last step, we got them straight. So what I've done is I have stained the living room side, and I've marked it living room side and down, so you don't have to really stain the whole thing, just the sides that are going to be seen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some glue on this, and I'm going to put it up on the other side. The reason I'm going to do it this way from this side is because I got more room on this side to be able to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and put my glue on this edge here. And there's a reason why, just bear with me. Basically, we're going to catch that 3/4 inch piece of trim up there, plus the piece that's going to come down underneath it is also 3/4 inch. I'll show you what I'm going to do with that here in a minute. So I'm just spraying some glue so that glue will set up on that top edge. And this is a long piece. We've got to sandwich that piece in there. So I want to be able to do that. Plus get my bottom piece on there. So let's go ahead and see what we can do about getting this in from this side. I got my glue spread out on it. So if I'm careful, I should be able to get this up here without any problems. Any glue anywhere else? Put it in the middle. Ladder here. That side up against the wall kind of hold itself in that trim. I'm not going to put that many clamps on that side. I'm going to put my clamps on this side to help me hold this back in, because that board is just a little bit bowed. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get the piece that goes flat up in here, and we're going to glue that, and then we'll use the other clamps to help support that. Let me go get that, I'll show you. And this is the piece that goes up from the bottom, so it's stained, and it says post, up, and wall, so I can make sure I get that going accordingly. I'm going to put some glue on the upside, just a little dab of it on the side against that edge. I will nail it after it's all up there, but it's a bit of a chore to get it up in there without a lot of conflict, so. I'm just going to glue the side. It's going to go to that beam, that living room side. Wash my finger off so I don't get it on my finished wood. You may do this a different way than I do, but this is the way that I feel it works for me. I notice I got some glue running down. I will be using a wet rag to get that glue secured. Go down into your clamp loose just a little bit. And you want to clamp both of them. So I push that back up in there. So you want to clamp both pieces. All right. Put one more clamp right here. It's because I want it to be tight in there. We'll look on the side, make sure it's flush against the ceiling. Everything looks good from my point. So that's how I'm going to do the other side. Got a little paint, but glue running down. I gotta get that cleaned up. So I'll be right back to show you how I got that other piece in there. Hold on. Hey, here's a piece that goes on the bottom out on this side. So I got up, post, and of course, you know where that one goes. Let's get a little bead of glue here. We got plenty on that side up there to take care of this. Like I said, I'm also going to nail it. We got to get one piece in there at a time. It's already set up. Something, isn't it? Clamp on both sides. Double check, recheck. Sure it's all tight. give it a little tap up there with my hammer just because I want it tight against that wall. All right, my friends, that's how we do that one side. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this dry, and then I'm going to get my air nailer out, and I'll go ahead and nail that up in there, and then that'll help me to get the other side up on there. So clamp it down, and that helps it too, so I can get that center piece in there. So that's how I build faux beams. Come back here in a little bit and I'll put the other side on it. I'll tell you what, being tall has its advantages, and so does having a nail gun. It makes life so much easier. You couldn't do it that quick with a hammer and nails and a nail punch to have to countersink it. So now what I'm going to do is get the trim board that goes on this side of it. We'll get it glued and clamped, and then we'll get it nailed up there. And this side of the ceiling will be done, and then we got to do the other side. We'll be right back. All right, my friends, put the final piece on. I'm exhausted. I've only been working on this for a couple hours. People ask, how do you do all this with a disability? You have to take frequent breaks. You cannot do this 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week. There's just no way. You just got to take frequent breaks, and employers are not going to understand that. Sometimes going to work for self-employed work and working in somebody's house, they don't understand that either. That's why I just do it at home for myself now. But let's get this piece up here. One of the reasons why I do this personal lifestyle channel. People know the struggles that I face every day. And I hope this gives you hope that you can do this too. You may be worse off than me with your disability, or you may be better off than me with your disability. But the point is, if you try, you can do whatever you set your mind to within your limitations. It's a point I'm trying to make with this channel. Tired. To get it to go in that trim up there. I'll go ahead and put one clamp on it. Then we'll drive it to the block. I'll piece of wood. Tired. Can't afford to hire it done, so just gotta take your time, a little bit at a time. I want to make a comment about this house. Hold on a minute, let me get this up there. Drop my block of wood. I'll better get it. Tap on this edges. Make sure we're tight. Tired. You can tell. That's tough. Help me. I want to give that side just a little bit of a pull down a little bit because it's the other side's a little bit lower, so I'm going to make them the same. Get a tool to pull it down just a little bit. Just a little bit, friends. Just want it to look like it's got the same distance as the other side does. I can live with that now. My friends, this is tough. This is tough. But you can do it. Stick your brakes. And I'm going to tell you right now, you cannot do this without the help of the Holy Spirit. I'm going to be making a video as soon as I get done with this other beam. I had a car accident a couple years ago. This house is a gift from God. If it wasn't for God's help, I wouldn't be here today, and I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing right now. That's why I do this channel. I hope I'm an inspiration to those of you that are watching this. I'm going to sit down and take a break, let that glue dry. I'll nail that in. We'll come back in part 2 of this as we build the other side of this. Talk to you later, my friends.